destroyed. We may be looking at that large a number, and some believe larger number of people who will be displaced from their homes. Is there any coordination yet, and would the Salvation Army be the one to do it, to coordinate people who are willing to open their homes to some of these victims who lost their houses?
I think that is still in the works. We don't have a person that's coordinating that at this time. I know that we'll be working with Red Cross, with the emergency first responders, everybody that's in the area.
All right, Janine, we're losing your signal, but we appreciate what you and the Salvation Army are doing, and we will check back with you as we go along. This may bear repeating, Linda, because a lot of people are wondering about this. Red Cross has this website set up called www.safeandwell.org, and we're going to be running that for you in a little bit. You can go to that, www.safeandwell.org, and they're trying to update for folks who can hear my voice, worried about their family members or friends. You can go on there and see what the status is, if they've been found, and what their status is. So keep that website in mind. And
you can also register yourself if you are alive and well and want to get that information to people. As you know, the cell phone coverage down there is almost non-existent. Some people are able to text, but not everyone. The landlines are down, so communication with those you love in this area is sparse at best. As soon as that situation changes, any will let you know, but it's probably just a waste of your time right now to attempt cell phone coverage.
They're saying texting,
into that area.
Texting would be the best idea. For some reason, that can kind of sometimes get through. Let's go to Mike Morgan in the Forewarned Storm Center for an update. Mike.
Kevin and Linda, this violent outbreak of severe weather and tornadoes for Oklahoma, anyway, for our viewing area, the Kfor viewing area, the folks that actually see us broadcasting, is winding down. Officially, the tornado watch is still in effect here, but really the severe weather threat area is pushing further to the south and further to the east. We still have one storm that has a tornado warning on it moving out of Carter County into the northern parts of Texoma land. All the rest are just severe thunderstorm warnings right now. I say that just being large hail and damaging winds, but tornado threat not as high. Let's go to the storm tracker, and there's nothing near Oklahoma City. We are completely green here. No storms heading for Oklahoma City, no rain heading for the metro for rescue and recovery efforts down in Moore in particular. These are big time storms in the Red River, so I-35 would be not a good idea southbound out of about the Arbuckle Mountains down toward Denton and Gainesville, Texas. These are very large with huge hail in them, and we still have one rotating storm now that is southwest of Tishomingo, just north of Marshall County and Johnson County, and that is moving east-northeast. That was the one that tracked through Ardmore, and over here to the east things are quieter, nothing of any significance there, and some severe weather which is related to the Moore storm back up here to the northeast and east of Muskogee, traveling over toward Tahlequah right now. So just to repeat, no rain, no storms right now heading for Oklahoma City or the metro or more. Chance of storms may go up later tonight. I'll take a closer look at that and talk about the chances of any rain overnight and for tomorrow morning for the rescue and recovery efforts, Kevin and Linda, when you come back to me in a little while.
Right. When will the sun set? How much time do we have for these?
8:34 tonight, 8:34.
So we've got just a little over 2 hours.
It sets, but light continues for a while after that.
About 30, 35, 40 minutes.
All right, Mike, we appreciate that. We've got Sarah Stewart, we've got Adam Mertz, we've got Jesse Wells, we have, of course, Meg Alexander and Lance West on the scene for us down there in that hard-hit area
Lance,
of Moore.
You've been bringing us reports all afternoon from Plaza Towers Elementary. First time we've gotten to see you. Tell us what's going on now.
We're right here in the neighborhood. Take a look. You can see the devastation behind me. This is a family here still sort of looking through the debris to see if they can find anything salvageable. And take a look at this. This was their storm shelter. The handle here has been bent by this monster storm. There were 15 people inside here taking refuge when that tornado passed. They all survived, thankfully. And right now there is a massive search and rescue operation going on. I want you to pan over that way if you wouldn't mind, Joe. This is Park Towers Elementary School. To give you a perspective, we're just about 200 yards from there. There are cars on top of the roof of this school. Everything within a mile radius has just been decimated. We can tell you that outside the school, I counted 9 headboards with neck braces, which is a good sign that perhaps they are finding some victims that they're going to bring out alive. We also heard cries for help from 2 homes across the street, and there are volunteers by the hundreds here lifting debris, trying to get to those victims. There's a bobcat that's been pulled in right now. They are trying to remove the heavier debris so they can get to someone at the bottom of that rubble who has been screaming for help for the past 20 or 30 minutes. It is really just chaos out here as folks come in and see the damage for the first time. There are emergency vehicles everywhere. They are commandeering pickup trucks to use as makeshift ambulances to get the victims to nearby hospitals. Not seen them pull any victims or survivors from the school just yet. We are hopeful that there is a miracle and that they pull some kids and teachers from the rubble here in the next few minutes. Again, 9 backboards at a triage center set up right outside the school. They've cordoned off the area, and they are in the process to get to these people who may still be trapped and alive under that debris. Guys?
Well, Lance, we were being given information and other things. We were a little bit distracted while you were talking. Did you say they heard voices from inside the school rubble, or was that a house in the neighborhood? Might not be able to hear us. I saw he was having.
They heard cries for help from two houses right across the street where a bunch of volunteers have gone to remove the debris. I have no word of any voices heard from the elementary school, other than that I saw some rescue personnel. It appeared that they were huddled down over the debris and talking to someone. That's a good sign. And again, there are 9 backboards outside in that triage center, which looks like they're about to get some victims out and transport them to a nearby hospital.
All right, Lance, thank you very much. We appreciate your work, brother, and we'll be checking back with you.
And we have received word that the University of Oklahoma will be opening up spaces for housing for displaced families. We'll pass that number along to you as soon as we can confirm it and make sure that that's the number that you need to be calling.
Let's get an update on some injuries right now. Scott Hines has that from the newsroom. Scott?
Hey, Kevin and Linda. Well, it's still too early to gauge the extent of many of these injuries. The death toll, we've heard as many as 6 fatalities right now being confirmed by the state medical board there. Southwest Medical Center, we just received word from Southwest Medical Center Baptist's spokesperson that they are currently treating 18 total patients, 9 critical, 9 of those in serious conditions. With the exception of the 2 fatalities we're hearing about, we've also heard of at least 4 fatalities that our own Meg Alexander witnessed with her eyes earlier. She confirmed that she saw rescuers pulling a 7-month-old. That baby's mother, another man, another woman, all dead. They were trying to seek refuge, we're told, in a giant freezer. We've also received confirmation that other hospitals in the Oklahoma City metro area are currently treating patients. About 20 people total, 12 adults and 8 children are being treated at OU Medical Center and Children's Hospital. That's according to OU Medical spokesperson Scott Kopenbarger, as well as Norman Regional Hospital and Healthplex there in Norman, Oklahoma. We have confirmed that they are also treating an unspecified number of people with signs of trauma, lacerations, and broken bones. And I think Linda had mentioned earlier that back in May 3rd, 1999, most of those injuries that they were treating or that they saw while they were treating in emergency rooms were there's puncture injuries, debris flying through the air, just injuries along those lines. So again, right now, numbers are starting to trickle in concerning injuries related to this storm. Death toll, you can only guess that it's going to rise at this juncture in the game. But again, 6 fatalities confirmed and dozens of others injured, currently seeking medical treatment at area hospitals. Of course, we're going to continue to monitor the situation and work the phones, and we'll have more updates for you coming up throughout the evening. So,
Scott Hines, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Chopper 4, we're going to come to you, John Welsh, here in just a second. But before we do, Irish Stogner is producing our show tonight. We're so grateful for her help. Irish, could I ask you please to pull up some video of the actual twister that did this damage? Folks who are just now joining us may not have seen that because it moved through that area more than 2 hours ago. So if you'll pull that up, let's go to John Welsh right now in Chopper 4 over the scene. When we were last with you, John, you were showing us a tour of this area. You're now again over Park Towers Elementary School, where the search continues for what we've been told were 75 students and faculty, teachers who may have been in that building when the tornado hit.
And John, it looks like, well, here's the video right now, John, and you might describe what you were witnessing and feeling as you were reporting to us on this gigantic monster.
John, we're seeing video of the storm right now, one of your shots from earlier. It fills the screen. Talk to us about what you saw.
Yeah, I don't have an off-air monitor up here, or I could give you exactly what we're seeing. But what I recall is we picked up this storm, and Mike kept saying it's on the ground, it's on the ground. We couldn't really depict it, and then out of nowhere, the rain just let up enough that you could actually see the funnel. And then as soon as we saw the funnel, that was on the west side, the west side of I-44, tracking towards Moore, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And about the river, you could see it was probably a quarter mile wide. And just after that, it seemed like it got, instantly a half mile wide. And then as soon as it comes up to like May, I remember Mike said, hey, it's crossing May and 149th or 134th. And anyway, the screen just got completely wide. It looked like the wall cloud was just going completely to the ground. That was all the debris that was obscuring the structure of the tornado that was rotating in it. And it's coming through Moore, it's barreling down. I live just on the east side of I-35, like an eighth of a mile. My neighbors to the neighborhood just south of me, their houses are gone. So the only thing I can think of from my perspective is, man, I hope my family is in their shelter where they're supposed to be. And, luckily they were. But so I kind of had a little bit of mixed emotions because I'm trying to provide a service to the public here and tell everybody where it's at. But in the back of my mind, I still have, hey, the safety of your own family. So, then the storm just continued to track through Moore. It crossed Sooner Road, which was kind of a nice relief for me because I know there's nothing out there but just some woods until it crosses Draper. It comes up to Draper just about 164th, and it kind of just ropes out, and then just the storm broke up prior to reaching Draper. And from there, we just kind of went back and did a damage path, and just completely blown away at just how scoured the ground is, and just how everything is completely gone. Whole neighborhoods, there's nothing, not even little trees. And all these neighborhoods had at least these small, and I say small, they're Bradford pears that are probably 10 or 15 years old, so the base of them is probably about the size of a bowling ball. Every neighborhood had, at least one in their front yard and a couple in their back. They're gone. All we're seeing now is just the pads of the house and some rubble. But we stayed on the school here, and if you're back on our live shot, fire crews have made pretty much a gang line. And what they're doing now is they're picking up debris and they're passing it down. They've got it in these buckets, and water is what we've seen a lot of them throwing, and then they're throwing it. Down. So it appears that they have a spot in there that they're concentrating their efforts on as far as searching for people. But as far as seen anybody come out, we haven't. I know when we initially flew over the school the very first time, we saw a bunch of kids running out. So we don't know how many of them are actually left in there. I know the number is kind of high with the teachers as well. But it appears that they have that one area just below, to the left of the screen, of that cinder, or that concrete wall that they're consolidating their rescue efforts. And as you can see, they're just continuing to throw debris and water and stuff in these buckets, pass it down, and get rid of the debris there, Linda.
John, we're looking at rescuers working right now in a search and recovery mode. We showed earlier, as you described it, the storm that moved through Moore, Oklahoma. It was on the ground for 20 miles. It was wider than the May 3rd tornado from 1999, which was an historic tornado. This time this storm, according to meteorologist Mike Morgan, is 3 times as bad. So we are looking at a catastrophic event. One of our cameramen here in the studio said it looked like an atomic explosion had happened here. It
certainly does. And let's go to Lance West. We need to go to him quickly now on the ground. He is near the school, and it looks like by an IMSA truck. Lance?
Yeah, guys, I just ran down there to the school to talk to emergency personnel, and I have been told by some very reliable sources here on the scene that this is no longer a search and rescue operation. It's now a recovery mission. It is my understanding that there are up to 24 children, victims, trapped at the bottom of that school right now. This is Eagle Drive right here. We understand there could be as many as a half dozen more fatalities on this street alone in this area. The emergency personnel have backed out of the school. They're pulling in more vehicles. They're backing people away. And I understand they're going to start pulling these tiny victims out of the rubble here shortly.
It's too difficult, Lance. I'm so sorry.
Lance, hang in there. Hang in there, my friend. You've given us the information, and we appreciate that. And it is so hard when you're there and you see it, and you see the parents waiting and hoping, and then hearing news like that. 24 little ones, and there are now fatalities there.
Lance was saying earlier that he believed from the information he was receiving that they were primarily third graders who may have been in a hall clinging to the walls in hopes of surviving what must have been terrifying moments for them. Our thoughts are with the families who are waiting for word, and with those rescuers who have the horrific job of trying to find the little victims in that rubble.
Well, apparently they say, I guess they have been able to locate a lot of those little ones, and they're going to start bringing them out. As according to Lance's last report, that is the most sobering news we have had since this whole thing has started. We were hoping for the best, and unfortunately, we know some did escape, and that is wonderful. That is wonderful, but what we're hearing now is just gut-wrenching. 24, we believe, little victims in the rubble of that elementary school in Moore, Oklahoma.
One of our news managers, Chuck Musgrove, is at 4th and Bryant in Moore, Oklahoma. He's on the phone. Chuck, what's happening in the area you're in?
Oh, Linda, I've been watching the people walk out of this neighborhood. It's next to Veterans Park. They've been streaming out a few at a time, and they're covered in blood and mud and gripping onto little things. Like I saw a lady carrying a box that looked like maybe a wooden cedar box. They had a Bible in, and they're holding their babies and their pets, and it's a pretty bad scene right here. I don't even know how to deal with where Lance is, but these people are at least walking out, and if they're not hurt physically, they're definitely hurt emotionally right now.
Absolutely shattered emotionally, as all of those folks are in that area. And Chuck, have you had a chance to talk to any of them? I know that's hard to do on a scene like that.
I talked to a few of them. I'm right by where John lived, where he was describing. So, another quarter mile up the road. I just got to my house and everything was fine, and went straight down there. And they're just they don't know what to say. They're just, everything's gone. You can stand at the corner there, and where there were probably at least a square mile of houses. I drive by it every day almost, and they're all gone. There's nothing left. It looks like someone took a wood shop and dumped the trash can out in the wood shop, and that's all that's left. No trees, nothing.
Chuck Musgrove is one of our news managers. His home is in that area. We appreciate you checking back in with us, Chuck, and we wish only well for you and your family and all of those in that area. We do need to tell you that if you're just now joining us, what you're seeing right now is the recovery process at one of the schools that was hit. Children were inside. They were sheltered inside when this tornado, which had winds of more than 200 miles an hour, moved over the school. It's Park Towers Elementary School.
Plaza Towers.
I'm sorry, Plaza Towers Elementary School. We're told, we were originally told that 75 children could be inside. Lance West, when we spoke to him about 5 minutes ago, said the number is now believed to be 24 children that they're searching for. It's no longer search and rescue, it's search and recovery.
24 little victims there. It's just, boy, it's just hard to take. And but we'll get through this, and I know that the parents, Oklahoma will get through it, and I know that the parents will get a lot of support from all of the Oklahomans that are hearing about this report right now, like Oklahomans always do. Let's go now to Sarah Stewart, who is also one of our reporters on the scene.
Yeah, guys, we were actually in a neighborhood here in Moore, directly behind the Moore Medical Center back here, and we talked to several parents who were waiting to hear word about their children at that Plaza Towers Elementary School, obviously just beside themselves, waiting to hear word. And obviously it's too early. We don't know if any of the children trapped inside belong to those families back there, but we have spoken to parents who are just frantic, waiting to hear word about their children there. As I said, we are in Moore. We're just north of the Warren Theater here. That's where they have the command post set up over there. And then over here, just to the north of us, is the Moore Medical Center. And then let me swing you around this way. We were directly back here in this neighborhood. It's just to the west, right behind this Moore Medical Center here. And that's where we spoke with a lot of people. That neighborhood back there, a lot of people along 6th Street back in there and more that rode out this tornado. That entire neighborhood is completely destroyed. Fortunately, a lot of the homes in that area do have storm shelters. And we spoke with one man who rode out the storm in the storm shelter, Ricky Stover, and here is what he had to say.
We thought we died because we're inside the cellar door. We locked the cellar door once we saw it coming, and it got louder. And next thing you know, you see the latch coming undone, and we couldn't reach for it, and it ripped open the door, and it just glass and debris started slamming on us, and we thought we were dead, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people in that neighborhood echoing those same sentiments. Just an absolutely terrifying experience for them. We spoke with another family who had several people down in a storm shelter, and they say that it took 3 men to actually hold down that storm shelter door and to keep it from just flying off. Now, we have not heard of any fatalities in that neighborhood. They were digging through some of the homes, trying to locate people, but I know that at least 2 of the homes that they were digging through, they did find those people well and alive. They had actually left the neighborhood before the storm and then came back, so they were okay. But just a lot of people sifting through a lot of rubble, and was just utter devastation in that neighborhood that's directly to the west of the Moore Medical Center out here in Moore. Guys, back to you.
All right, Sarah, we appreciate it.
Mike Morgan is he's over in the Weather Center right now. We've been talking about this storm in comparison to the May 3rd, 1999 storm. That was a historic storm of its own that moved through Moore, Oklahoma. And Mike, from what you've been able to observe, this storm is worse.
Mike, the winds on May 3rd were what, 308 or something like that?
318 from a portable Doppler radar measured just above the tops of the cottonwood trees in West Moore and also down near Bridge Creek. This one likely is an F5, and the winds were in the 300-mile-per-hour range. These are the 2 tracks, May 3rd in yellow and May 20th today in red. Very similar tracks. Today's tornado on the ground for 20 miles. It was wider. The debris ball at times, as you saw live here, we've been showing you the debris ball at one time was about 2¼ miles wide. The vortex is inside of that, but that debris ball, that has winds in it that's still way over 100 miles an hour. So the entire mass of the tornado at one point, 2¼ miles wide. May 3rd was on a Monday, just like today, but that was at 6:30 in the evening. And the tornado set down much further back to the southwest, so there was a longer period of warning with the May 3rd tornado because it set down that tornado at the Chickasha Airport, near the Chickasha Airport, and traveled all the way through Bridge Creek with a great loss of life, and then traveled into Moore with a great loss of life. This one was a lot like the Joplin, Missouri tornado from the standpoint that it set down just west of Moore. Joplin set down just west of Joplin, and astonishingly went from nothing to an F5 in 1 hour's time, which is about as fast as the atmosphere can go from nothing, in other words, not even a cloud, to an F5 tornado in 1 hour. It is truly the worst case scenario when you're talking about disasters of this massive, massive scope. It set down just northeast of Bridge Creek and hit North Newcastle right there at the casino. And that's exactly where May 3rd tracked through. May 3rd took a path that actually went through some open fields in Moore because there were big open fields in 1999 in parts of West Moore. This tornado, as far as where folks live and where the infrastructure is, where people are working, where children are in the schools, as we know tragically right now, took a much more devastating track, not making comparisons about which one was more devastating. They're all equally devastating, but this one had a larger impact in the scope, Kevin and Linda, that we have tragically witnessed this afternoon. And here is the video from Bob Moore Chopper 4. That is the debris ball. You see the large barrel-shaped tornado in the middle. You see the power flashes here. All this debris is obviously neighborhoods in West Moore, and this was from John Welsh, and he was talking about it a while back. Again, from no cloud to an F5 in 1 hour, which is very similar to Joplin, Missouri. This one it covered nearly 30 square miles of damage. top end destruction, F5 destruction, no, not 30 square miles. But overall damage from F0 to F5 damage, it's right at 30 square miles. Might be 27, 28 square miles, but close to 30 square miles, which is more in terms of coverage of destruction, and the fact that it took a path through Moore, which is a much bigger city, more developed city today, that had a lot more folks where they were while school was in session compared to May 3rd, 99. There's no doubt that this, the scope of this, as far as what we have been seeing, is 3 times, I think, just roughly the scope, Kevin and Linda, of May 3rd, 1999.
Wow.
And many of those people rebuilt. The people who were affected by that 99 storm rebuilt in the same lots they had before, and to be affected by it again is almost